And we are live again for the post-game show, and we're moving on to the NLCS. The Dodgers pick up a 2-0 win in Game 5 of the winner-take-all game. Offense wasn't there, but it was there just enough. The pitching was phenomenal. Yamamoto proved us all wrong in the bullpen. Well, the bullpen's pretty much been doing it this entire season, all year long, and let's just get right into it. Before we get into it, let's get the ad out of the way. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 teams against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and that share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on the action with a game of blackjack, poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head over to the website today and get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here. And it does start here. And we got Juan joining in from the stadium.
I can't hear shit. I can't hear you guys. It's a party over here. They're inside getting drunk in the clubhouse. They're putting it up on the big screen. I don't know what you guys are saying, but I'm coming live from Dodger Stadium.
Yep.
Hey, we can hear you, Juan. We can hear you.
They're getting drunk. They're getting drunk. I just want to say this. I know I was wrong. I picked the shofar. I've never been happier to have been wrong. I blocked my tailpipe so there would put no banana in the tailpipe. Okay? Now, my phone is about to die, so if you lose me, it's because my phone is dead. But as you can see, it was lit here tonight from the beginning. The fans were cheering. The fans were in it. And on to the NLCS. I'll stick around here until the phone dies. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Well, it looks good there. The crowd looks good all game from the start of it. I mean, it's easy to get into it when you got Tatis, Manny Machado, and all these guys not coming up big. But Carlos, I mean, we talked about it. The pitching was the biggest thing in this entire series in the bullpen. Yamamoto kind of proved us wrong.
Yeah. Before we get into the game, I just want to say, Roy, exactly. We believe it was being loyal to our team. Forget the naysayers and the players who thought, and I give credit to Juan because he admitted that he picked the Padres. But yeah, I mean, you know what? For the Dodger fans who believed in the Dodgers that they could do it, third time's a charm. Let's go Dodgers, man. You know what? I picked up some key words in Japanese. I hope I don't butcher the words, but here we go. Arigato Yamamoto. Yamamoto was great. So to translate that, it means thank you, Yamamoto, and Yamamoto was awesome. So you know what? This is what it's all about. I mean, this is baseball, you guys. 5 games, the best team wins all. I mean, Dodgers shut him out again. I predicted 4-2. It was 2-0. I mean, they haven't scored in 18. I think it's like 24 innings. I mean, there's so many things you can say so positive about the Dodgers. All these guys on Fox, all these former players, Hall of Fame players. What the fuck do they know, man? They don't know shit because they didn't pick the Dodgers until today. And like Roger said, we don't want them to pick the Dodgers. We don't need them to pick the Dodgers because we know what we have here. I don't know what the question was, Cody, but all I got to say is, let's go Dodgers.
Yeah, it seemed like the Dodgers were the favorite this entire series in terms of Vegas betting odds and every sports book that you looked at. But from anybody that you talked to that wasn't a Dodgers fan themselves, it seemed like they were the underdogs this entire series. All we heard was, the Padres, they won the regular season series. The Padres have deeper pitching. The Padres have a better bullpen. The Padres have the offense clicking at the same time. And give credit to the Dodgers because they didn't feed into that narrative. Even when they got down 2-1 in the series, they go in, they're in San Diego. They easily could have just given up right there. And, I think the reason why Dodger fans like us were not say we didn't expect them to win, but we were scared of the matchup is because we were just traumatized from what happened just 2 seasons ago. And this team just showed that they're not that team. Otani's the big factor in that reason why, but the Dodgers won this 5-game series without multiple pitchers. Gavin Stone, Tyler Glasnow, couple bullpen guys out through the year. You can go on and on. 25 total players on the injured list this entire season. No Kershaw. The offense took a lot of hits, and Otani was pretty much not a factor in the series besides game one. You know, the Padres did their best to keep him at bay. It was the newcomers that ended up coming up big. And one newcomer that we knew was going to make an impact this year, especially when they signed him in the offseason, is Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, this guy comes to Los Angeles on a 1-year deal. He literally probably has, I would say, the best 1-year contract of an MLB player ever. You know, has an all-star season, becomes an all-star starter, wins the home run derby, and is pretty much on his way to being the, I would say, the most clutch hitter on the team coming into, you know, going through October right now. And getting his bat hot for the NLCS is definitely a big game changer for the Dodgers. Carlos, Teoscar Hernandez, you weren't there with us really in the winter when we were talking about this signing. I thought it was a steal just to get this guy for 1 year and like 17 million. I mean, we're definitely reaping the rewards right now, aren't we?
Wait, before Carlos starts, I don't know if you guys are watching the celebration in the clubhouse. I mean, these Dodgers are fired up, and I think this is a more sweeter victory that they've had in a long time, and it's because of the Padres, because of all the talk, because of everything that happened in this series. They go down. Everybody, we were all saying it. This team has no fire. This team has no fight, and they're shutting everybody up. They're shutting all us up. They came back. They win 2 games, one in San Diego in the hostile environment, one here at home. They shut down the Padres for how long now? Like 2.5 games. I mean, you can't say more about this team, the determination, what they've done over these last couple games.
Yeah, I think even just, you know, eliminating the Padres is a big deal. I mean, we've talked about it all season. This is the matchup we wanted. This is the team we wanted to shut up. But like Carlos, we don't like the Padres. We can admit that. We can admit that we don't like the Padres.
Hey, now that it's over, we can talk the shit. F the Padres. They can go kick their ass to San Diego, try to win next season, see if we can make the playoffs next year. They're not as good as they think they are. And when they face good pitching, and the Dodgers, you know what? You got to give credit to Roberts. I know we criticize him a lot, but the way he played the game, you know, look, he proved us all wrong with Yamamoto. Yamamoto was lights out. I mean, I was impressed. 97 to start the game. I think he hit 98 once. I mean, that was so impressive. So hats off to Roberts and Yamamoto. They pulled it off. And then we went to the bullpen. You know, we knew the bullpen was gonna hold it down, and the bullpen was unhittable. So yes, this is definitely this is the team. This is the Dodgers are the team. We have a really good chance to win the World Series, and the Padres. Good luck next year.
You know, Roger, you're a guy that I know doesn't like the Padres. You don't really like the attitude that they show, and you've made that point known. And you know, they always try living up to the Dodgers, and they really come up into these games. They looked really flat in these last 24 innings because they just couldn't get anything done on offense. I mean, they kind of just look like they shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, I mean, credit Dodgers pitching. I mean, right? I mean, like you said, Dave Roberts, right? Everybody's always hating on Roberts, right? But you got to admit, everybody has to admit, Roberts knew exactly what he was doing from that bullpen game to Yamamoto. We were here yesterday, 24 hours ago, like, no, we don't think Yamamoto should be the guy. And he comes and he shuts us up, right? He shuts me up. I know I was saying, let's save Yamamoto for game one if that happens. I mean, just the thing for me is the Padres is their attitude, right? They're those ones that think, you know what, they deserve this. They deserve this. Their fans think the same thing. They talk so much trash. They haven't done anything. They've never done anything to talk the trash. That's why me or other Dodger fans don't give them the respect, because they've never done anything and they try to talk like they have.
Yeah, I think this season I tried giving them more respect, you know, coming into this series. I mentioned it when this series kicked off, where we faced so many divisional opponents over the last, like, several years. You know, we've had the D-backs twice. We've had the Padres. We've had the Giants. You know, I these last 5 games, I just haven't seen as much animosity between two clubs, between, reading in between the lines, Dave Roberts and Padres manager Mike Schilt. You could just see that they respectfully do not like each other. The clubhouses don't really like each other the way that Padres play. I just don't think their attitude really, speaks to a winner's culture. And, I'll just say it right now. Everyone wants to say, yeah, Manny Machado's he's the leader over there. If Manny Machado's your leader, then your clubhouse culture just isn't, going to be well at all. Yeah, they beat the Dodgers in 2022 to go into the NLCS, but then they lost to 5 games to the Phillies. They missed the playoffs at the year after that. And then last year they missed the they missed the playoffs last year. And then this year, they kind of put everything together, but they still fall just short to the Dodgers. Because I'm even a firm believer of, say, in 2022, if the Dodgers forced a Game 5, they probably would have won that series as well. That's just the way I was thinking of. They just couldn't beat the Padres in San Diego that year.
Another thing too and I've said this to this day, Padres got lucky to win that series. The Dodger bats were cold. Padre bats were cold in that series. If you go back and look, they didn't score a lot, but they got those hits when they needed. If the Dodgers would have had 1-2 more hits, big hits in that series, they win that series. But whatever, right? It's water under the bridge. Padre fans have been holding that since then over Dodger fans' head. All right, tables have turned now.
Yeah, I would say, Carlos, we have all momentum now to talk, our shit in the NL West right now, because the Padres, I feel like anytime you bring up anything to a Padres fan, they just bring up 2022. Well, now that's all water under the bridge. That's, 2 years ago. Dodgers are in the NLCS now.
Dodgers have beat them twice now, 2 out of 3 times in the NLDS.
2 out of 3 times. And we all know what happened the last time they beat them in the NLDS in 2020. Dodgers are looking to recreate that magic now. Carlos, just looking at this game, how nervous were you? I said before the stream in the pregame show that it was going to be a nail biter, and it really pretty much was. Besides 2 massive home runs by the Dodgers, everything clicked on the pitching side. But yeah, how nervous were you watching this game?
Yeah, when the game first started, I was nervous. The first inning with Yamamoto, I mean, that was impressive. I think it was 10 pitches. He had a hit to Freeman, 3-1, a strikeout, and a ground ball to second base. After that, my nerves were calm, and I felt that I had never. I mean, he was throwing 97 consistently, so that was a positive. And I was like, I was a lot like your daddy here. He says your daddy 106. I was like, let's fucking go. We got this. I was impressed. We had said in the pregame, it's all about the first inning. If we can get out of the first inning and Tatis does nothing, we're going to be okay. And that's basically how I felt. And then going to the second inning, he had like a fly ball for Machado on the first pitch. Jackson Merrill has been silent since like game number 2, I think. And he grounded to second base on the third pitch. He walked Bogarts, but then he got Peralta, who's probably been their best hitter in the series, and he grounded to second base. So after that, it was like, wow, this guy is looking good. And it was like I said, you know what? In that aspect, he definitely, he shut us down. He said, because we had all these doubts against Yamamoto, and he lived up to the $325 million contract. He lived up to the Japanese legend that he is. And so, like I said, arigato Yamamoto.
The fact that this Dodgers team even made it to the NLCS is an accomplishment in its own right. We all know that this team, like you said, Carlos, is capable of winning a World Series. But just looking at today and everything I already mentioned with the amount of injuries, the guys that aren't here playing right now in October, Wednesday's game 4, they hold the Padres to no runs, 7 hits. Today it was even more dominant, where 2 hits and no runs across at all. It's kind of embarrassing if you're a Padres fan to get, I think it was the new record for scoreless.
I got chills, Cody. I got chills.
You got chills?
I got chills.
I got chills because, we got to give him his flowers. A lot of people were clamoring, even if the Dodgers said they lost this game, Dave Roberts probably should be on the hot seat. But then, he just clicked every single button right, I think, this entire series. I just don't really think there's a move that I don't even think there was a wrong move he made at all this entire series. You could argue maybe starting Yamamoto today, but he proved everybody wrong, going 5 scoreless innings in his best start in a couple weeks, because Yeah, those regular season starts where he looked really good against the Cubs, like that's the regular season. Everything in October is amplified like 120, 150%. And, like Carlos said, he looked excellent today. Definitely lived up to the $25 million.
And I want to shout out Mike Salas. He's never doubted Yoshinobu. I know we were like, Mike, I don't know. And he's out fighting the fire right now. That's why he's not out here. So best of luck out there. Take care of yourself out there, Mike. But we'll have him on. We do a show tomorrow. He's going to come on. He's always believed in Yamamoto, and Yamamoto tonight he went out there and he showed.
Yeah, and also Alyssa, I mean, Cody and I convinced her to say Flaherty, but she was behind Yamamoto too to start this game, and so we got to give her flowers when she sees this video. Yeah, props to Alyssa. I didn't see it coming, but you know what? I was behind him regardless because we got to be behind the players. We can't, even if the numbers say differently, we got to believe in our players, and that's exactly what we did. And so, man, this is what a great win, what a great series win, and the Mets are coming up, and we got Flaherty rested, so I mean it's looking promising for the Dodgers right now.
Yeah, you mentioned Flaherty. Now, Yamamoto going 5 innings not only was crucial for this game to kind of set it up for the back end of the Dodgers bullpen to get to work. They used all their high leverage guys. They used Alex Vesia, they used Michael Kopech, they used Blake Trinan, and they used Evan Phillips, who looked straight up nasty against the top of the Padres order. NLCS is set up pretty good now for game 1 at least, and game 2. I would assume game 1 goes to Flaherty, and then game 2 goes to Buehler. Landon Knack's definitely going to have to be involved in this series because instead of being 5 games, you have a 3-game stretch of playing. I believe it's still the traditional 2 off day and then 3 straight games and then off day again. So he's going to have to be used this series. So it'll be interesting to see how the Dodgers navigate their bullpen because I don't think they can get away with how they used it this series where they go bullpen game and then heavily bullpen usage the next day after that. Any thoughts on kind of where the pitching plans goes forward, guys?
I agree with Cody. I mean, I think they're set up okay. I think they're set up pretty good. We got Flaherty going on Monday. I'm sorry, on Sunday, and then Buehler going on Monday. Then they'll rest till Wednesday. I think that'll be it's gonna have to be Knack. I mean, I guess I wouldn't go bullpen game, but Knack is fine. And
you'll probably see Knack or a bullpen game. One of those will be
on Wednesday.
Knack. Yeah.
And then you got Yamamoto starting Thursday. That'll be on what? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So he'll be well rested for that Thursday's game. So, I mean, we're looking okay. We're looking okay. I mean, the Mets are playing good ball. I mean, we played them well, and so I mean, I know we'll discuss all those details later on, but I mean, let's celebrate this victory. It was like this was the moment. I mean, this was great. I mean, just watching the whole game was so exciting. I mean, taking the shots for the home runs. I mean, this was all home runs today. I said from the beginning, the difference this Dodger team from the last 2 years is Ohtani and Teoscar. And Teoscar, I mean, yeah, he doesn't make as much as Ohtani. He doesn't have the big name like Ohtani, but he's been so clutch. I mean, super clutch. And then what can we say about Kike? I mean, Kike has been like, he definitely performs in the playoffs. I mean, this guy is like, he's literally built for the playoffs. And sure enough, I told my son, watch, first pitch, home run. And sure enough, he hits the home run. I mean, and it wasn't a cheap shot. It was, I think it was 430. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cody. So
it was deep. Like, that's all I know.
He passed the concourse in left field. Remember the left field bums?
Yeah, he passed that right concourse. Now. So I'm gonna
go ahead.
No, Schultz talking. I want to see what he says.
You want to play it?
Oh, he's in the press conference right now. I'll pass along what he says.
Yeah, so no, it was Kike was awesome. I like what Kike said at the end of the game. He asked Ken if we were live, and then Ken's like, yeah, we're live, and then Kike's like, we don't give a fuck. And it's exactly, the Dodger players don't care what people are saying. Nobody really picked the Dodgers to win. Even Dodger fans were doubting the Dodgers. It was few people. Cody and I said Dodgers in 5. No matter what happens, we're loyal to the team. And you know what? Banana in the tailpipe analogy, fuck it. We'll fall for it every time.
Yeah, I think, despite everything that happened this year, I was more confident in the way this team was built to go at least, win this series, potentially win the NLCS. And then if you get to the World Series and, all hands on deck. You got there. The best team usually comes out on top, no matter what, anyway. But yeah, I just think beating this Padres team just sets them up with so much confidence because, Carlos, we said during the pregame, these are the two best teams in the National League. And that's no discredit to the Mets, who took down an equally bigger, juggernaut, the Philadelphia Phillies, who were arguably probably the best team for most of the season until the Dodgers ended up taking over the best record in baseball. But let's not forget, like I said, Dodgers have the best record in baseball. They are the best team in baseball. And a lot of people around the sport that cover it, whether it's other media outlets, the national media outlets, nobody was picking the Dodgers to do this. The Athletic had their poll. We talked about it before the series. 80% of the writers picked the Dodgers to lose the series. They picked the Padres to go. The sexy pick to win the World Series was the San Diego Padres. And, I think the Dodgers players, while they won't say directly to you that it like either irritated them or, lit a spark in them, it definitely did. And you saw it the way they played this series. It seemed like, especially in the last couple innings of this game, every out that they got, it seemed like more and more players were a little bit amped to get those outs. And the way they're celebrating the clubhouse right now, this is the happiest I've seen them, do something in like years.
Yeah, no, so many people picked the Padres to be the Dodgers. We had repeatedly said 22 of 27 ESPN experts picked the Padres to be the Dodgers. So Dodgers have very little hope. But you know what? We as Dodger fans have been watching the Dodgers all season long. We know what the team is built. They're built on, the starters don't go deep. The bullpen is a very big essential part of the team, and the team, somehow muster runs. So this is how they won today. They won today, two solo shots, and Yamamoto was exceptional. The X factor today was Yamamoto going. What did he go? 6 innings or five? He went five, right?
5 innings. Yep, 5 innings.
Five innings, and I mean he was lights out. So big props to Yamamoto. I mean, I was wrong. I was wrong. And I admit it when I'm wrong. I was surprised, and I'm glad. I'm glad I was wrong, and I'm glad he proved a lot of people wrong, and he pitched really well. We don't see a lot of the regulars on the comments. We don't see Matty Man and Michael Negrete, who were like didn't think the Dodgers could win this series. But here you go. You just gotta believe the team is a good team, and I feel very confident in the next series, and I can't wait till it starts.
And this was a series too that I'm not a view, right? This was a series that everybody was looking forward to, right? This was the main. When you look at all the other series, all the playoff series, there was nothing like this series. This was this series, and I think most people believed whoever comes out of this series is going to the World Series, right? I mean, no disrespect to the Mets, they've been playing incredible ball, and the Dodgers just got to come out and punch them early, punch them. First couple games, just punch them, because I don't think they've been hit yet. They haven't been hit with something yet, and they need to Dodgers just need to come out and show, hey, we're running this NL, punch them and go for the knockout.
I do think it's funny. The debate that happened most in the second half in the National League was Ohtani versus Lindor. And then that's the NLC matchup that we're getting. Because if you look at him, give Lindor his flowers, guys. He's been incredibly clutch for the Mets in their postseason run right now. For over the last, I would say, 2 weeks, playing with the bad back, playing defense every day, and then hitting the game-winning grand slam in Queens the other day against the Phillies off their closer, Estevez. It's going to be great. It's great TV. I think the MLB is popping champagne in behind the scenes because no discredit to the teams that made it to the final dance last year or even the World Series between the Rangers and the D-backs. That shit does not draw ratings. Right now, we got East Coast versus West Coast for the LCS, and I'm rooting for what Carlos picked behind the scenes. Dodgers Yankees seems like that's very realistically going to happen. Dodgers still have to take care of business, but I think having the New York market and the Los Angeles market meet again, it's going to make for some good TV.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking at the comments. Dennis Gonzalez, hell yeah, you got to be fired up. This is it, man. This is great. This is great baseball. It was a great series. The better team won, and that's the Dodgers. Now we can talk all this shit. Go on your social media posts, go on our comments, and talk shit to the fucking Padres.
Another thing, one of the comments, Dennis Gonzalez put in the chat, the Padres played this series for vibes, the Dodgers played for their lives. And I think that's really true because the Padres, they were just, when they were up, they were up. They were having, I would say having fun, feeling themselves, antagonizing the Dodgers crowd. But you saw what happens when you get a lead over them. It seems like they just crumbled under all the pressure. And coming into a game 5, I think where the Dodgers really came in with a lot of advantages is that because they are a perennial playoff contender, because they play in these games more often than not, you have a lot of hitters on the Padres like Jackson Merrill who haven't been in, a do or die situation, who haven't had their backs up against the wall like the Dodgers have. Like I mentioned, Dave Roberts, since he took over as manager, has played in before today, played in 7, winner take all games, and he was 5-2 of those games. A lot of the core players are still on this team right now. It means something when you have the experience in October. And the Padres, to me, especially their offense, looked like they had a lot of hitters that just weren't built for the moment in like a wit to get. If you're losing early in a winner take all game, it just looked like they were defeated. And Jackson Merrill, especially, you know, he's not going to finish rookie of the year. It's going to be Paul Skeens. He had a really good season, but this year, or this postseason, he just didn't look like the player that we saw in the regular season, and especially these last 2 games where I think he went over.
Yeah, you're right, Cody. I kept score the last 3 games. I have them at 0 for 8 since that last big inning when they scored their 6 runs. So 0 for 8. And you're right. Sometimes I don't even think that way, where like the game is too big, the stage is too big. But I mean, I guess the stats don't lie. He was 0 for 8, but he's not the only one. I think Machado went 0 for 8 since they scored that big inning. So a lot of players. I mean, you got to give credit to the Dodger pitching. Whoever's calling the pitches. I don't know if it's Roberts in the dugout or if it was Smith who's been calling the pitches. Big props to them. That's a silent MVP because you never hear that kind of stuff. Like why were the Dodgers able to shut him out for 2 games, 2.5, more than 2.5 games? So big props to Will Smith or whoever was calling the pitches. And Simeon, Juan did, when we first started, Juan did go on and he did say that, he did pick the Padres and he's glad that he was wrong. So, we won't kill Juan for that anymore. So he's acknowledged that he was wrong, but he's happy to be wrong. So he's still a Dodger fan. I also thought he was a Padres fan, but apparently he's still a Dodger fan.
I'll give Juan credit because I cover this team a lot. I cover baseball a lot. I look into the ins and outs between every statistic, past history, just general vibes, I guess. And coming into the series, I wouldn't be lying to you if I said in the back of my head, I was like, man, this is not the matchup I wanted. This is the team that, has played us well all season, that eliminated us 2 years ago. I can't state that enough. And that was in there. I think Juan, I think he had that in his mind, in his decision making with all of that. But this Dodgers team, like you said, Carlos, is just so different than those teams in years past.
Well, I think we all did. I mean, that's why I showed you guys my bracket, right? Originally I wanted them to be the 2 seed because I thought maybe that's the easier path to not facing the Padres in a short series. And I kept telling Carlos that I really don't want to face them in a short series. I'd rather face them in a longer series. But then, obviously as time goes on, I'm like, you keep thinking to yourself, like, you know what? No, if I think this team is the best and they think they're the best, it doesn't matter who's in their path. They got to go through them, whether that's the Padres in the first round or second round, whatever it is. They got to go through them. And, they took the challenge head on first round.
Yeah, and that's what I think I told Cody, and Cody agreed. The Dodgers should be first round, should be number 1 seed. And you know what? They should play the best teams. There's no hiding, make them play them in the 7-game series. Who cares? If we're the best team, we shouldn't be afraid to play anyone. And I'm so glad the Dodgers played the Padres so that you can shut these people up now. People look, in reality is, look, Fox Sports with all these Hall of Famers, these guys didn't pick the Dodgers. They were like Padres every freaking game until today. So we know that this is what we wanted. We wanted the Dodgers to prove to everybody else that we are a good team. Yeah, we're not a conventional team where we have a starter who goes 6, 7 innings. We're a team who goes 4 or 5 innings, and then we go rely on the bullpen, and we're going to rely on a couple of home runs here and there. and sometimes we break out and score 8 runs. But man, the Dodgers, I like this team. I like this team. I think the Mets, it's gonna be a good series. I believe they're gonna beat them. I don't think they're gonna go 7. I don't want to do any predictions right now. We'll hold it to the end of the live, but I'm just happy for this team. I'm happy to be a Dodger fan. I'm glad they beat the Padres. I'm glad they played the Padres.
Yeah, I think they needed this. I think they needed this win. I think they needed this win for themselves, or maybe not necessarily for themselves, because the players always believe that they have it. But, we saw how the series, in the first 2 games, especially game 2 where everybody looked defeated. Mookie Betts was in that 0 for 9 spell. Ohtani, besides the clutch hit that he had in the first game, he was kind of pretty much silent for the rest of the series. To have everybody pick you up and win these games here in a 5-game series, they've been playing a lot of division opponents well. This kind of reminds me of the 2021 NLDS, where they pretty much had to fight tooth and nail with the San Francisco Giants, a team that also won the season series and then won the division. This game was just like that. But it just seemed like as soon as they got that 1-run lead, the way Yamamoto looked and the way our bullpens looked pretty much the entire year, I kind of just, not trying to sound cocky, but I was kind of like, you know what? I think they got this game today. I think they're going to win this one, and they didn't prove me wrong there. The bullpen just went scoreless inning after scoreless inning, efficient after efficient. The only issue is Alex Vestia, who it looks like, I think Jack Harris just tweeted out that it was a back flare up, and they're going to have him get reevaluated before I would assume probably tomorrow, to see if he's going to be able to make the roster. Which, if he's gone, that would be a big blow to a team that's already been decimated with injuries.
Yeah, and
you know what? Go ahead, Roger.
I don't say. I mean, they're short on lefties as is, right? It's only left-handed relievers, only Banda and Vesia. So there's not even somebody else that was left off the roster that they could put in his spot. So it would be a big blow.
Yeah, the only one that I can think of that's on the 40-man that could possibly get added is maybe Robleski, if that has to come to that, if they want to put him in the bullpen. But other than that, I mean, you kind of got what you got. There's no Kershaw coming out of the bullpen this year, guys. I know how many people kept putting that idea out there, but yeah, that just goes to show you how much this team has been playing, how much they've been winning with just everything that's been happening this season. And the common theme is that, this team spent $1 billion. This team spent $1 billion. But Carlos, what team has dealt with more injuries and roster turnover over the last 7 months than the Dodgers? Nobody.
Yeah, no one has. Dodgers have had the misfortune of all these players being hurt. But on the positive note with Vesia, look, we have a day off tomorrow. I mean, Trinan threw 9 pitches, Kopech threw 9 pitches, and Phillips is probably the one that threw the most. But you still have Banda, who didn't even pitch today. Who else? Ben Kasperius hasn't even seen any game time. So I think we're okay. I mean, maybe they add Joe Kelly to the roster on this coming series. This NLCS series. So I think we're going to be okay. I think Vesia just needs some time off, so he'll have tomorrow off. He'll definitely have Sunday off, and then maybe he'll be ready for Monday.
Yeah, Dodgers are moving on. They're going to the NLCS. They have home field advantage. Game 1 begins on Sunday, and then game 2 is on Monday at a weird start time. I think we should complain about that time to the league's offices. It's 1:00 your time. It's 4:00 my time here on the East Coast. I'm still going to be at work. I'm sure you guys are still going to be at work as well. I don't know who chose that time, but it's going to be a really good series. I'm interested to see, how they play a Mets team that's been really hot. It reminds me of 2021 because, it seemed like the Dodgers, they were the best team in baseball that season, despite the Giants having 1 game up on them. But instead of having to go to Atlanta to play an 88-win Atlanta team, they get to finally be the home seed and start the series out at home for the first 2 games.
Well, the Mets have had how many days off now? It's going to be like 4 games off?
They barely any, I would say. Barely any.
Well, no, they've been off. And when did they win? Like 2 nights ago or 1 night ago? Did they win yesterday? No, it's 2 nights ago, right? So they'll be off like 4 days before the CS starts. So maybe that's going to cool them down a bit.
Hopefully. I mean, they've been hot. They were on a stretch of playing 11 or 12 straight road games. They had to play that doubleheader in Atlanta. I think that goes to be a reason why they've been so hot right now, because pretty much every single game that they've played has mattered all the way into the end of the regular season, and then through the postseason. You want to win every single game that you can in that wild card round and in the division series. And they also took down a divisional opponent that has a huge rivalry here. I'm in the Philadelphia area. If there's one team that the Phillies hate more than the Braves, or hate equally than the Braves, it's the Mets, and the Mets ended up taking them down in just 4 games. And I think that's pretty surprising. If you ask me, I definitely thought that we would be facing the Phillies in this situation in the league championship series. I mean, guys, I gave the Phillies their flowers all season. I told you how good their offense was. I told you how good the pitching was. I told you how good the bullpen was. And the thing is Juan agree with me. And look where they're at right now. They're on the couch. They're going to Cancun tomorrow.
Yeah, and you know what, you guys, being to start a 1 o'clock start game, for the people who couldn't make any of the Padres game, let's go to Dodger Stadium because the tickets are going to be cheaper that day. So keep that in mind. Buy some tickets up. It's going to be cheap. Let's go watch the game live. I'm going to try to be there because typically when the games start at 1 o'clock, the prices tend to go down. So keep that in mind.
Another tidbit to note, I mentioned it on, I think, 2 days ago's post-game show. Dodgers are the first National League team to win their division and move on to the League Championship Series since the new playoff format was put into place. I know a lot of Dodger fans have complained in years past, especially last season, about the bye being too much of time off. I know this year was a complete 180 from that opinion. I don't think there's a Dodgers fan I know that wanted to play those wild card games with the way the team was injured all season. It's nice to buck the trend and be that first team.
I think we could put that to bed now, right? The long layoff and then coming back out of it. I mean, I don't. There was a couple games that the Dodgers bats were pretty cold. I mean, even today, right? But it was freaking Darvish was dealing again, right? So you got to kind of expect that. But other than that, I mean, I think they played a great series.
Yeah, their offense was really good this entire series. Even though Darvish pitched really well today, into the 7th inning, I thought the Dodgers had a lot of good at bats against him. He's just a really good pitcher, and he has their number. He pitches them extremely well. Ohtani can't seem to hit him well. Betts hasn't hit him well in his entire career. And for what it's worth, a lot of those winner take all games that I mentioned in the pregame that Darvish has lost. A lot of the times he went deep into the game and only allowed like 2 or 3 runs, and the team failed in the later innings in the bullpen. Like, he was on those Rangers teams that just couldn't get out of the ALDS. He was on a Padres team where their bullpen blew it against the Phillies on multiple occasions, especially that game 5. I mean, it was Suarez, the all-star closer, that gave up that home run to Bryce Harper to have the Padres lose that series. But yeah, I mean, vibes are high.
Yeah.
Dodgers making it this far though.
Yeah, he's 0-5 now with elimination games and winner take all games. He's 0-3. And just a quick update at least on TickPick, games for tickets for Monday's game as low as $92. So jump on some tickets, you guys. Watch the Dodgers live. I mean, I think they got a really good chance against the Mets. Dodgers stack up well. I think they have a rested starting rotation. Bueller will probably start that game on Monday, and Bueller looked really good. I mean, don't let that ERA fool you, because those 6 runs should have been 6 runs. So I'm excited to watch Bueller pitch now. I hope he built some confidence. I hope he saw the videos, and I'm sure he did. I'm sure he's seen how he pitched, and he didn't pitch that bad. So excited for Monday. Obviously excited for Sunday for Flaherty to see how he looks. He's rested, so I mean, we're looking good for this coming series.
This may be a conversation for another day in the off season, but are we all in agreement that Teoscar Hernandez needs the extension?
I was going to mention that. What more does this guy have to do to get an extension from the front office? This is so ridiculous. I mean, he's even said, "I want to keep playing for the Dodgers," and I don't even think money's an issue. I don't even think he wants like 30 million a year. I mean, just give the guy his dues. I mean, who's going to play center field next year? I mean, I like Edmonds at short over Miggy. I like Pages at center eventually, but yeah, I mean, I mean, the only thing I see is that they want to switch Pages to left, and then where does Teoscar go? But man, that guy's been so clutch. I mean, he's been a pleasant surprise. And you know what? I want to say that when he first signed, I knew a lot about him. A lot of players, a lot of Dodgers did it. I remember going to Lancaster when he played. He was in the Astros organization, and keep this in mind, he was traded before the trade deadline of that 2017 series, the cheating Astros. So he was part of that organization. I got his autograph then with my son, and I've always been high on Teoscar, and he's been floating around the whole league, and now he's with the Dodgers. So he's always been a good player. He's been a top prospect, but now he's out there, and people know who he is because he's playing at the national level. Dodgers are, everybody knows who the Dodgers are. So I mean, I just don't see how they don't re-sign this guy. It would be awful.
As we start to ramp it up here, I mean, there's a lot of players you can choose from. You can even group a lot of players together, like the bullpen. But MVP of the series, I mean, I'm interested to hear your take on who kind of stepped up and won the series for the Dodgers, because I wouldn't say it's a hot take for mine, but I'm curious to see what yours is.
Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, I can't pick an individual player.
It's the team.
No, no, no. It's not the team either. It's TBD. No. You know what? Honestly, MVP, hats off to me. It is the bullpen. The bullpen by far is the MVP, and it's unfortunate because there's like 10 guys in the bullpen. But I mean, we can individually look at their stats, but the MVP is the bullpen as a whole. I mean, they were like they shut these guys out. I'm telling you, 18 plus 6, that's what, 24 innings. They shut out the Padres, and the Padres, who according to everybody in all the MLB experts, had them beating the Dodgers, had them as the best offensive team, and somehow the bullpen shut them down for 24 innings. So the MVP to me is the bullpen.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way around that. The bullpen stepped up. We knew the bullpen was going to have to be big in this series because of the way the starting rotation was. That's a given. It's going to be even a bigger task for them in a 7-game set this next week against the Mets, who kind of are in a similar situation. Yes, they have a couple more arms in their starting rotation. Like they have Jose Quintana, Sean Manaea. They just got Kodai Senga back, but he only went, 1 or 2 innings for the Mets the other day. But they've been relying on their bullpen heavily, pitching Edwin Diaz in multiple different spots throughout the day. But this Dodgers bullpen, it seems like you can put them in any spot. If you want Blake Trinan to close a game, awesome. If you want Kopech to close a game, great. If you want Evan Phillips to come in the 4th or 5th inning or the 6th inning like he did today, I mean, if you want to pick a name who I think has been really shifted gears this whole series, it's Evan Phillips, because it seems like Evan Phillips was the only guy to get Tatis out, with the wicked slider, attacking him just right away. The at-bat today against the heart of the Padres order, I mean, I don't think you can ask more from Evan Phillips, who's he's gone through the ups and downs this season. He lost the closer role, and he's kind of found a spot where he's been thriving at since he's been out off the IL.
I mean, it's really hard to pick, who you want to pick. In the 7th inning, they struck out the side. I think it was a combination of Kopech and Vesia, I believe. I'm not sure if I'm right, but yeah, I mean, the bullpen as a whole, I mean, lights out. I mean, when you guys take it, I mean, I don't know how you guys like to look at this box score or take your time. I mean, and I'm sure Cody does. I like sitting there and looking at their stats and just looking at how they did, and just the whole bullpen was pretty impressive. And you know what? The nice thing is that for the most part, most of those arms are going to be rested for Sunday's game, and so if Flaherty gets in trouble, we're going to rely on the bullpen again. But I think Flaherty he's definitely going to be more than rested, and I mean, he's going to be pumped. He's going to be pumped to be the first game game 1 starter for the NLCS. And yeah, I mean, it's a good start for the Dodgers.
Yeah, great start for the Dodgers. Great series win for the Dodgers. Like I said, on to the NLCS for the first time since 2021. It's been a while since we've been able to celebrate Carlos a series win. We've had the bumps and bruises along the way. Last year, getting swept out of the playoffs. The year before that, losing to these Padres in 4 games. We haven't been to the World Series since the 2020 season. The Dodgers are definitely looking to try to get back there this time. We won't go super into it with the Mets coming to town. Like, just overall thoughts, what you think of the Mets. How big of a challenge will they face pose for the Dodgers?
I mean, we know they're playing well. I think their MVP. It's funny because I don't think it's Lindor. I think it's the first baseman, Pete Alonso. I think he's more of their MVP, at least in the postseason. So you know what? I think we played them well. We did play them well in the season. Do you know what the series the breakdown was, Cody?
Let me look that up real quick, but go ahead, keep
So why
continuing your
he's
thoughts.
right. He's looking that up. I mean, I think we could beat them. And look, the momentum shift for the Mets started in that game. If you guys recall the game where I don't remember the pitcher's name, where that pitcher takes off his glove and he throws it into the stands, and then he says how he's a bad teammate and on the worst team. And then the next day, I think Lindor calls a team meeting, a players meeting without any managers or management around. And ever since then, their whole season changed. So they should thank us for that. So I think we're playing well. So what was the series
So the two
outcome?
teams haven't met since May 29th. So obviously the Dodgers team then was different than the Dodgers team now, and same thing with the Mets, vice versa. Dodgers ended the season series winning 4-2. They swept the
Okay.
Mets in New York during the May series, but they lost the first game of the series of the year. One of those games was when Tyler Glasnow, I think, went 8 innings or through a complete game, win the 10-0 win.
Okay.
But that's an arm that we won't have this time around.
Yeah. So I mean, of course we wish we had them, but you know what? I feel confident with Flaherty, with Bueller, and I mean this time Knack or Ben Kasparius is going to have to step up for that the fourth starter, and then we'll go back to Yamamoto. So, I mean, I feel confident. And then you guys, obviously, everybody in the chat, you guys know baseball. 7-game series versus a 5-game series. It's a whole different animal. It's a different animal. And there's more those they can rest. I mean, if you lose 2 in a row, it's not as detrimental as in a 5-game series. So yeah, I mean, we look good. I mean, we have the home field advantage, and if it comes down to a game 7, just like it did to a game 5 here in the NLCS, it'll be at Dodger Stadium. So, I mean, I think spirits are high. I feel confident. I'm loyal to the team, and I just feel that we're going to beat the Mets.
Yeah, I'll definitely have more time to look into it in more in depth. Go through the numbers, go through the guys and arms that they have. Fortunately for me, I'm friends with a lot of Mets fans, so this series is going to torment me in different ways than you can imagine with us going back and forth. But they know ball. They know our guys. We'll know their guys. So off the tip of my head, I would say the series is going to go at least 6 or 7 games. I don't think there's any way around that. You look how the Mets are playing the last month and a half. Oh, honestly, you can go back to June. They've been the best team in baseball since June. Yeah, it's going to be a good series. I mentioned it before the show in the pregame. If they move on, if the Dodgers moved on to the NLCS, it would be the first time they meet the Mets since 2015, but it's the first time in the LCS since 1988. So if we're going to go for some history there, get that going. And we all know what happened then, right, Carlos?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But you know what? Yeah, so yeah, I mean, let's get this series started. Let the Dodgers celebrate tonight. Get some rest tomorrow. Probably show on the field, do batting practice, just toss, and then get ready for Sunday's game. And like I said, go Monday, you guys. If you guys want to get a good deal, the tickets, I'm sure, if you guys even wait longer, the prices will go down. It's typical because it's day game. People got to work. So call in sick now. Tell your boss, hey, I'm not coming in Monday, and that's what I'm doing. Hopefully, I'll be at the stadium on Monday, and if I can do the post game or pregame, I'll do it from Dodger Stadium.
Well, I mean, it's been a great episode. I mean, a lot of fun that we had this series, a lot of fun that we had today. It's good to celebrate this win. We'll take that off day tomorrow and then get ready for the NLCS that will begin on Sunday night against the New York Mets, which should be a very good series. But other than that, it was great to do all of these pregame and post games for this series. We're definitely looking forward to it this next upcoming LCS, and hopefully we're going all the way to the end of October to the World Series. Obviously, you guys know what to do. Make sure you subscribe, like the channel, like the page, like the video, turn on your notifications. We're going to have a lot of pregame, postgame interviews. visit the website, go to DodgersBeat.com. A lot of the guys that have been doing, the pregame and postgame and coming in on our lives or coming in on the episodes on this channel, they also write on DodgersBeat.com, along with myself, Steve Webb, and Mike Salas, Yamamoto's, number one fan. So I think, we're in a good spot here. I don't think you can argue against that. And I'm just excited to see what this team can do.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, this is what we wanted. We took down the Padres. Let's move on to the New York teams. It'll be the Mets and then the Yankees next. So let's go. Let's go Dodgers. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I can't wait for the series to start this Sunday, and everybody can sleep well tonight. Have good dreams of Dodger baseball.
Yeah, we'll take it one game at a time. And like I said, make sure you guys check us out on Sunday. We'll probably have an episode come out maybe tomorrow during the off day. We'll definitely be back with pregame, postgame coverage on Sunday for game 1 of the LCS. But you got to make sure you're subscribed and follow us on all social medias. Carlos, it was awesome to celebrate this win with you tonight. And we'll see everybody on Sunday.
You got it, Cody. It was fun.